Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar vs. Trevor here. I'm joined by Thomas, and it is final Oscar nomination predictions. How are we already here?
I know.
I
Crazy,
don't know.
crazy stuff. Not even received Critics' Choice yet. Obviously, that's been delayed.
Google
Uh,
fires
so,
and everything,
but
but
we've got most of the pieces here in terms of nominations, all the guild stuff.
yes.
There should be some surprises. I'm expecting surprises come Oscar noms. I do not expect our
Yeah,
predictions to be entirely correct. Last year, we were a lot more confident on stuff. We were a lot more confident in the Best Picture lineup. Even this year, we could
100%.
see a number of things happen. We're expecting over performances, underperformances. So yeah, we'll get into all of that stuff today.
100%. So let's just dive right in. I'm going to be completely honest, could not have been fucked to edit. So we are just throwing things up on a Google Doc because I am busy with class and it is -2 degrees outside and I'm tired and don't want to do anything. So
Yeah.
this is what we're working with. We have a document. I took about 2 hours in the middle of my Shakespeare class the other day to put together a document and write down what precursors everything got. Academic weapon over here.
Absolutely.
Um, and so we're just gonna kick it off with Best Picture. Where okay, feels like we have a three to me at this point.
Yeah.
Amelia Perez and Nora Conclave. I think it is going to be one of those three films that is taking Best Picture.
The Brutalist has just sort of missed a few too many places to really
Right.
be majorly in the conversation. The SAG Ensemble miss was maybe expected, but not a great
But it's
sign.
the
And so
SAG underperformance with Guy Pearce and
exactly,
Felicity Jones.
it's
I've been
that
seeing
kind of thing.
Oscar voters talking about how they aren't even finishing the movie, which fuck off. But
Yeah.
like it's
But
when you make a 4 hour long historical epic, it's gonna alienate some people. And I
the
just think
AC
it's gonna
miss
be
as
too much to
well.
overcome. Yeah.
Yeah, like it will get a few tech wins. We'll get to director, obviously, and we'll get to actor, but I don't think Brutalist is really in the conversation. So Conclave can get back into it with a SAG Ensemble win. Potentially, it does well at BAFTAs and makes sense. It is a very British coded film.
Yeah.
So there is a chance for Conclave. I do think it is on the edge of those three. I just still think Amelia Perez makes the most sense with the SAG Ensemble win. We've seen how the industry have taken to it, and we've seen how just everyone is going mental.
I I'm
And
still
it's
waiting.
divisive. It's divisive.
Right.
Whether you dislike it, you're still talking about the film. It's been clipped up to death on the internet. It's got a above the line win. Yes, it's probably not winning director or screenplay, but the last film that
Chicago.
did it without that was Chicago, another musical. So it just thinks like this is the film of the year. This is the film of the moment, Amelia Perez, for a certain group of people. And those group of people happen to be Oscar or awards voters more generally.
I'm
So
I'm still waiting now. It did miss ASC, which is its first big guild miss. Obviously that's just one thing, right? But I'm still waiting to see if SAG will give it the win in ensemble because they didn't like they gave it Carlos Figueroa going in the Zoe Saldana as expected, but they didn't overdo it. They didn't do Selena Gomez like BAFTA did, right?
yeah.
And we have seen like it's done well at the guilds, but it's definitely performed like its contingent is the international voting block. It's the Europeans. It's BAFTA, right? BAFTA put Adriana Paz on the long list. BAFTA nominated Selena Gomez, right?
Yeah.
BAFTA gave it the most long list mentions ever or something like that. Gave it the most nominations besides Conclave. BAFTA, the international block, that's what's going for it. That's about 20% of the Academy, I think I've read. So how does Hollywood respond when it comes to wins? Obviously, they did it at Golden Globe, but Golden Globe it's the Foreign Press Association, right? It is made up of international journalists,
Mm.
so they might reflect closer to what the international voting block is. Does this have the support in Hollywood? Is this going to win SAG Ensemble? Is it going to win PGA? I don't know. I don't know. I honestly might kind of be leaning towards Conclave, to be honest. I put Conclave above Anora.
Really? It's yes. I mean, Anora would need to win Critics' Choice, and then from there it would need to take BAFTA. Weirdly, yes, the ones that are most likely to win SAG Ensemble, although I guess the ones that overperformed the SAG were Wicked and A Complete Unknown, which are the two in Ensemble that are least likely to win Best Picture. So it's a sort of
Yeah.
SAGs were
And
weird
this
this
is
year.
this is
SAGs
well,
were
this is
weird.
why just the entire but again, SAG has to be listened to because that is the
Mm.
biggest contingent, that's the biggest representation of the Academy that we have. It is the actors branch.
Which is
So
why I'm not completely ruling out Best Picture. The only like the major thing against it is it missed BAFTA, and I don't think the international block will take to it as much. They've clearly favoured Amelia Perez if they're going for musical, and for a musical to win and it'd be Wicked at this point. would be slightly
Yeah,
show.
but what happens if Wicked does win SAG? What happened?
If
They
Wicked
clearly
wins
loved it. They
SAG,
gave it Jonathan Bailey. What happens if Wicked does win
Wicked can win
SAG?
SAG, but I don't think it'll win PGA. I don't think it'll win PGA, and I
Right.
think that will be a SAG
And
will
it
still
also
win.
doesn't have an above the line win at this point.
No, it's also lost pretty much all momentum in those
But
fields. So
again, it's like
with
since
no
we
director or screenplay noms even
right,
projected. So yeah.
which is why I wouldn't lean Wicked. But I mean, the substance I would have really liked to see it get into BAFTA.
The Substance, we mentioned this before, when we were watching the Golden Globes. The Substance had a path there, but now that Margaret Qualley's gone, it feels like momentum has died down.
Right.
And there was a major upsurge of momentum around Critics' Choice, and that should carry over to the Oscars. And it's been able to keep it in the conversation. Demi Moore winning at the Globes, that should keep it solidly there, but it's not a Best Picture player. And neither really is a complete unknown for me. Can that sustain itself
No.
till March? Not a chance in my book.
I think
Michelle
here's the
could,
thing.
but
You have like this group where it's like theoretically could they? Maybe, but they're not
I
gonna
would add the
happen.
Brutalist. I would add the Brutalist.
Probably.
I just don't see
But the
it.
Brutalist at least has two above the line wins. I feel like the Brutalist is kind of in its own class where it's in between.
Sure.
Because I feel like you have Anora, Conclave, and Amelia Paris. Those are the winning contenders. Brutalist is kind of in between, and you have Substance, Wicked, Complete Unknown, which is like they're all doing well enough right now. They all have like above the line wins or have a path through something, but I just don't quite think it's there for them.
Mm.
And then you have Doom Part 2, which is just like it's obviously not going to touch anything, but it's there.
But it's the last secure nomination that we have, because even though we have A Real Pain at 9 and it did do very well to get the PGA, it missed Critics' Choice, which was weird. It didn't do brilliantly at BAFTAs. That was fairly
Yeah.
expected. It's not a very BAFTA friendly film, but I still think there is something about A Real Pain and something about people having seen it over the
PGA was massive for A Real Pain. I
Exactly.
think
It suggests
yeah.
it's increasing momentum, which will only be furthered with Kieran Culkin's undeniable strength in that category, and it's really very strong success in original screenplay thus far. So I do feel fairly good about A Real Pain at 9. It's that 10th spot that really is up in the air for me.
Right. So I would still lean Nickel Boys, maybe out of
Spite.
spite.
out of the fact that it's the best film of the year and needs to be in the lineup. Do we need any more reasons than that, really?
Right. Yeah, so and it's interesting. So when you look at what it did, now there were people in the comments that were talking about with like ASC and DGA. So he did get nominated for DJ First Time Feature and will likely win. Another interesting thing is that Greg Quaidar missed First Time Feature for Sing Sing.
Oh shit, I didn't even notice that when we were. Yeah, I suppose you did. That's not good for it.
Very, very bad. Sing Sing just does not seem to have guild support. The SAG Ensemble miss, the PGA miss, the DGA First Time Feature miss. Like that lineup was All We Imagine Is Light, My Old Ass, Nickel Boys, Armand, and DD. Sing Sing could not break into that lineup for First Time Feature. It didn't get SAG Ensemble. Like I just don't believe that Sing Sing has industry support. I just really do not. I think it was too little, too late from A24. I don't think A24 can get two films in this year. I really don't think it's
weird that they, yeah, exactly. And there was also people were saying, oh, maybe BAFTAs saved it, because it did do decently well at BAFTAs, but it's not enough to save the film. Like it performed basically in line with
again. This can even if Macklin
SAG to take it. Yeah,
even if Macklin
happens,
it can still just be The Lost Daughter, and it can get to like leading and supporting actor and then screenplay, which is what Lost Daughter did, and it even kind of overperformed. It was a surprise with supporting. Right, people weren't entirely expecting. It was Jessie Buckley, yeah, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. People weren't entirely expecting her to get in, and then she did slip in on Oscar nomination morning. But that was a second priority that year for Netflix. They obviously had the power of the dog, right? And nothing else was going to come up, by there. So like, I could see it being a similar story where it gets to acting noms, it gets screenplay, but there is not enough passion for the film overall to break into this 10.
Exactly. Like looking at just the nomination halls within themselves, and that's a perfectly valid way of approaching what's going to get into Best Picture, because usually they are fairly in line. The top 10 films that are nominated are the top 10 films. But it just, yeah, as you say, there's that lack of support for the film as a whole. SAG really just fucked this film because they just didn't take
And
to it,
sorry,
and that's
the
from
other
the
thing,
acting branch, massive. So
if you look at the DGA first time feature, Maggie Gyllenhaal won that shit for Lost Daughter.
yeah, there you go, there you go,
Like
another good.
people compared this to Past Lives last year. Celine Song won first time feature. Like Charlotte Wells for After Sun won. Like Darius Martyr, Sound of Metal. Like these are the types of films that Sing Sing should be performing similarly to, and it's
Yeah.
not.
And it's really not at all in the conversation for winning screenplay anymore. At one point in time, we were like Sing Sing Conclave. Now that it's
Right.
lost all momentum, really, and win potential for that
Complete Unknown is
category.
higher than it.
Exactly, I'd say a complete unknown is higher than it. I'd even potentially, I mean, the Conclave has that category on lock at this point, but Nickel Boys is solidly in there as well. It's just as solidly in there as Sing Sing. So that is, I would also be leaning towards Nickel Boys. I just think there will be enough passion for it as a film. I just hope to God there is enough passion for it. Yes, it would be. It's weird that it's missing cinematography now, and it's weird that Ramel Ross never really happened. But
Yeah.
lone screenplay nominee for Nickel Boys, it would be the same haul as September 5, and I'd
Yeah.
imagine that Nickel Boys just has more support across the spectrum versus September 5, which is clearly a large group of people that are liking this, but they are producers and they are
But it's
journalists.
right.
They don't make
And
up the
it's not
entire
like it
Oscar.
did very well at guilds outside of PGA.
Exactly. It's
Right.
been ignored everywhere, and where it's not been ignored, it's done very well.
And the
So
other
I
thing,
just think that if you're taking a look at the Oscars voting body, the biggest voting body, it's more likely that it will just be ignored. And that's why I'm going blank on September 5. I don't think it will get a single nomination, not even in that lone screenplay where people have been suggesting maybe. I know we'll get to that category, but
yeah.
I think it will be goose egged. I don't think September 5 will be a thing.
The other thing with Nickel Boys is ASC Spotlight, right? And in that Spotlight category, which I believe if you get in for it, I don't know how the eligibility works, but I think it doesn't make you eligible for the main one. But this is the same category that films like Ida and The Lighthouse won, which did
Okay.
both go on to get that 5 spot in cinematography. So I
Yeah.
don't think it's completely dead there. I don't know. I don't know. I've also seen people bring up September 5 potentially being the first film in like 85 years to be a lone Best Picture nom.
Maybe, but when you've got Nickel Boys there, which is a critically acclaimed film, it did very well at Critics' Choice, and I'd assume like Critics' Choice are not usually wildly off base with how Oscars people are thinking, and it did very well there. So for it to do quite significantly worse here at the Oscars would still kind of that pipeline makes sense. It's done really well with critics. A lot of people really love the film, and a lot of people voting and nominating these films will have it very high up. A lot of people probably won't have it at all on their ballots, and that's fine. I think there will still be enough people that really love the film versus September 5, where there's a few people who really like the film and no one else is even touching it.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I agree. I am also going to throw on, I'm typing with one hand, but
Yeah, no,
I'm still
yeah,
here
that's a good one to throw on because
as a rogue
challenges, we'll
shout.
get to challenges as potentially overperforming. I can see that coming. I do think challenges might have a surprisingly good nomination haul come Oscars,
Maybe.
but I'm
I'm
still
not
here.
entirely convinced.
I'm still here. Could it on its best day clock up 3 noms for actress, screenplay, and
International.
international?
There's an open spot in screenplay.
So
There
yeah,
is.
yeah,
And actress, I think Fernanda Torres will get to it, but I think she's probably in. And if it's getting the like remember Worst Person in the World? Worst Person in the World was probably the 11 or 12 for Best Picture kind of out of nowhere. It was Plain Stick and Fiddle and International. If Renat Reinsve, like, because that got a surprise screenplay nomination. If
yep,
Renat Reinsve got that 5 spot in Best Actress, then maybe, then
yep.
maybe. And I feel a lot better about Fernanda Torres getting in than I did about Renata Reinsve getting it.
Definitely after
So
the Golden Globe win. Yeah, exactly.
after the Golden Globe, 100%. And
I
like,
think she makes the most sense.
she just went on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah, no,
Like,
there is support for I'm
she's
Still Here, and what will help it is the fact that the Oscar nominations were pushed.
right, and that gives more people time after like the Jimmy Kimmel appearance, after the Golden Globes, to seek out the film, to watch it. It came out in theaters in LA, New York, these big markets during Oscar nominations, like during the voting period. They're like, part of me just wants to take a massive swing and throw it in. I won't.
Yeah, I would also agree. It wouldn't massively surprise me. It wouldn't be a big surprise if this happens.
Yeah,
My just worry is that its best day is not good enough for picture itself.
right.
Like
And
it
it
would
might
end
be
up
too little,
really
too late.
even something like Parallel Mothers as well, which I think is a fairly decent comparison point.
Yeah,
Whereas even on its best day, that was not a picture play. Like, and it had its best day at the Oscar noms when it
right.
did.
Actress
So
score, yeah. Even
it was
without an
never getting
international
more than that.
feature.
Exactly. So yeah.
So yeah, no, I agree, but I think it is 100% worth putting on this list because it like again, part of me, and we'll see. We're doing these on the 19th is when we're recording them. I'll probably put them out either later today on the 19th or the 20th. But by the time we get to night before in a few days, am I gonna buck up the courage to throw this in at number 10? Maybe, because I really don't think it's a unreal possibility in any way.
No.
So like
No,
it's
for sure.
I could see it. I could see it. But anyways, I think this is what we're sticking with for now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Which I feel is going back to, I guess Sing Sing was always sort of there, but I don't know, it feels like we've come full circle with films like A Real Pain to just see
Yeah.
them now basically in the lineup and Nickel Boys. So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that is honest.
All right, best director. So look at what we have right here. Corbett, I just think is winning. I don't really see anybody taking this Oscar. I think the Oscar's just his.
No, he won Golden Globes and The Brutalist. It is that kind of film that will be very catering to the director's branch's taste. So there isn't another clear winner unless Emilia Perez really just gets even stronger. But I don't think it can get stronger than it already is. I agree with him
No,
being number two,
he's number two,
but it's only going to lose support and it's only going to get more divisive. So Jack Audiard just isn't gonna happen. And I don't think Sean Baker can really. It wouldn't make sense for him at this point to win
no, I
both
agree.
screenplay and director. And
Like
simply think he's so
Corbett
strong
just
in screenplay.
really he feels like that Jane Campion win, right?
Yeah,
And obviously
yeah,
Jane Campion had a lot more, experience finder and everything, but like, Inarritu for the Revenant, right? Winning for maybe a film that was a bit colder, didn't respond as much for the best picture ballot, but is just, the technical achievement of the year. That's pretty
yeah,
undeniable.
yeah. No, exactly. It
Um,
pairs quite nicely with a cinematography win as well, which we're
yeah,
expecting for the film. So there is stuff there to indicate that Brady Corbett would be winning, and the Golden Globe is just that sort of final
yeah.
signal that yes, he will probably sweep because we've had directing sweeps for the past few years now at this point. So
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Is it more even? Because Campion swept, did she not?
yeah, Daniels basically swept. I don't know if they swept. They may have missed
Yeah,
one
I think they
from
lost
memory, but
Globe, I want to say.
they basically
But
were a
yeah,
clean
yeah,
sweeper.
yeah.
So yeah,
It wasn't in doubt for basically the entire season, and I think we see the same thing.
yeah.
Baker's in, Burger's just in. Like those are just top four. I mean,
Those are
this
just
is just the top four for
strong
picture,
films.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Those are just strong films. Berger in the club. This will be a good nomination for him to pick up and a good
Nomination.
sign that maybe Conclave can do better. But yeah, neither of them are really gonna win. And then I feel very confident that Coralie Farjat will get it. Like she secured the BAFTA nom.
Yeah,
That
I
was
mean,
very
this
good
is
for her.
we're going with the five that is just BAFTA minus Villeneuve, and I think the Dune just is clearly the film that has been getting nominations in director that just has the least passion. I just think
If
Coralie
Villeneuve
Farjat just
got
substance.
DGA, there would be more of a conversation. Villeneuve missed DGA. Joseph Kaczynski could get DGA for a
Right,
blockbuster.
Top Gun.
And
Yeah,
Villeneuve for June, which has been lauded as a cinematic achievement, and he's
couldn't.
still not quite happening exactly. So June Part 2 just doesn't have the momentum, doesn't have the passion that the first one did
It's the
have,
Two
even though it's a
Towers. It
significantly
is
better
the Two
film.
Towers.
Yeah, it's sort of right there. But and then Capadia, it was great to see her get the Golden Globe nom, but she
She
missed
needed
BAFTA.
BAFTA.
That
She
would have
needed
been
BAFTA.
a good sign.
If she got BAFTA, especially over Farjat, then it's a serious conversation. Like, could
Yeah,
she?
yeah,
Ramel Ross, God knows how, is just out of the conversation. He should
I
be
know.
winning.
I know the fact that
Uh,
he's in the same conversation as the fact that he has ended up with the same amount of nominations as John M. Chu for Wicked
and James
is
Mangold.
insane. And James Mangold, yeah.
Like, yeah,
So
which on James Mangold, yes, he got DGA, but this is just that Joseph Kaczynski type thing where it's just, something that the guilds go for. But DGA, as basically every single year, gets 4. They go for a more populist choice. The populist choice drops out for the more art house European international can pick,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
poorly far shot.
Exactly.
This category
It
feels
fulfills
pretty
the
simple.
can. Yeah. Pretty much. Don't think there's much
So,
more
okay,
to touch on there.
cool. Best actress. We've already kind of talked about this one a bit.
I would firstly switch around Demi Moore and Mikey Madison.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree. I don't think Mikey is impossible.
No, not impossible. If she wins Critics' Choice, I just think Demi Moore will win SAG, and Golden Globe SAG combo, I think, will translate to an Oscar win for Demi Moore.
No,
So
I agree.
she's not out the race, Madison, and she could still, they could flip flop back and forth. I can see Madison maybe winning the BAFTA, although I'd still be predicting Moore to win the BAFTA. So yeah, like
Yeah.
we're predicting Anora to do well at Critics' Choice. My worry is just how well will it actually do at Critics' Choice? Like, will Madison win? Will it win Best Picture there? And I'm just not seeing the evidence for that kind of prediction, other than the fact that if you're actually looking at the critics, what was their favorite film of the year? Nora was definitely the one, but Critics'
Right.
Choice, we know, like
Aren't
to follow the
actually
Oscars.
critics.
They aren't actually doing the Critics' Choice. So you don't like it. Else it would be
This
a massive.
isn't like
You could just look at all
NSFC
the
or
critics groups.
LAFCA or anything.
Exactly.
Like,
You could just look at all the critics groups and decide, okay, and then total it up, and then that's your Critics' Choice wins. It's not that kind of game. They like to follow the Oscars, as therefore I'd be predicting Demi Moore to sweep throughout the season.
Probably. But Mikey is in. Carlos Figascon is in.
Yeah.
I'm like 90% with Cynthia Erivo. I still have doubts in my mind about Cynthia Erivo off of pure gut feeling. We can predict her.
Yeah.
But and I think the other thing is that Marion Jean-Baptiste, I've seen Hard Truths now. She is a lot of the film, it is the performance showcase for her, but a lot of the film is also her just like berating other people. And we know how the Oscars don't love, for probably vaguely sexist reasons, to nominate women who are unlikable for a large portion of the film. And I don't know if they'll go for Baptiste. Also, it's Bleecker Street. Do I trust their campaigning? I don't know. I just think that Fernanda Torres has all the momentum. Like we said, she was just on Jimmy Kimmel. I'm Still Here is picking up steam. She won the Golden Globe. She has visibility. I just think that she makes sense for this 5 spot. Now, do I think that it is impossible for both of them to get in and Cynthia Erivo to miss? No, I do not. I do not think that is impossible. Will I predict it? No, because I'm a pussy. But
yeah.
I don't think it's impossible.
Cynthia Erivo getting all of them, still getting the BAFTA when the BAFTAs didn't love Wicked. They didn't even put it in picture, and yet Cynthia Erivo's still there. I don't think that's a worry really at all. I think she got everything. She's singing the film, big part of it. So I think we do have a solid top 4. And as you say, it does come down to that 5th spot. But the Golden Globe win was massive. I'm Still Here is gaining support. We just talked about this kind of stuff in picture.
Let's not ignore Pamela Anderson. Let's not ignore Pamela Anderson.
Yeah.
Because she got SAG. She made she has Jamie Lee Curtis to coattail off of.
Yeah.
Last Showgirl is on voters' radars now. They're already thinking about these career comeback narratives with Demi Moore. They already got that shit in their head. Now you look at Pamela Anderson, who is doing a similar kind of culture, a very similar thing to Demi Moore, where she's doing kind of this career commentary meta, indie film. It's really a showcase for her in a lot of ways. We can't write Pamela Anderson off. Now at 8 and below, I think we can. I just think Angelina Jolie's done. Nobody else is ever even sniffing it, right?
Yeah.
But Pamela Anderson, this is a three woman race here to get that.
Yeah,
5.
you're very right.
Pamela Anderson is in here.
But I do think that it makes sense for SAG to take to those kind of narratives and take to someone like Pamela Anderson more than the Oscars will, which has other branches.
I think international block is going to help Fernanda Torres, but the fact that she did get in at SAG and she does have that support from the largest voting block in the Academy, I think says something. I really do think it is, especially now that JLC is in.
Yeah. Yes, and we've mentioned before, it's quite weird that it's the other way around. Usually you'd expect someone like Curtis to be coattailing off Anderson. Weirdly, it's the other way. And The Last Showgirl, but I think The Last Showgirl is in the same position as I'm Still Here, whereas this extended voting period will have benefited both of them.
I low-key
fairly equally.
Can I put Anderson at 6?
Yeah, because I think Hard Truths, a lot of people would have seen it prior, but Last Showgirl and I'm Still Here, those kind of films that just
those are the films picking momentum right now.
Radar. So yeah, I don't think that it will have quite enough momentum the last Shogun. Whereas Fernando Torres, her win at Golden Globes, that's great. That is really good for her, and that will hopefully, I think, be enough to secure this nomination. So,
I think likely that's what I'm leaning towards. Again, I would not be shocked if the lineup is like more Madison, Gascon, Torres, Anderson, or something like that.
I would be.
But that's
I
just
would
me.
be. I'd
That's
be
just
very
me.
surprised.
That's just me. All right. Best actor.
We're
So
again, there's a
Brody's
conversation, but I feel
probably winning. Like
fine. Yeah.
the question here is that A Complete Unknown massively overperformed at SAG with Monica Barbaro getting in, Edward Norton's in, and it got SAG Ensemble. It got 4 SAG nominations. The Brutalist massively underperforms, missing for Guy Pearce and Felicity Jones, only getting 1 nomination. Do they just love A Complete Unknown enough to give Timothée Chalamet the SAG? Maybe. Maybe they do.
I think so.
Maybe they do.
I do think Chalamet wins SAG, but at the end of the day, BAFTAs will not go for Timothée Chalamet.
They gave A Complete Unknown Best Picture. Remember that shit? They gave A Complete Unknown Best Picture. They like A Complete Unknown. And like the industry really, really likes A Complete Unknown, and it has a lot of momentum. Do I still think the BAFTA's going for Adrian Brody? Yes. Yes, I do. But I'm not 100% convinced of a sweep anymore.
No, I don't think it will be a sweep. I think Chalamet will win SAG.
I'm not 100% Brody's winning anymore.
No. That is also, yes,
It's
there is definitely a conversation to have there. And my just feeling is that when we get to March, A Complete Unknown, the hype for it will have died down. It's a very strange way. It's really just, it's picked up momentum once it's been released and we're getting these nominations, and it's going to do really well in nominations. When it actually comes down to wins, I think it's going to disappoint and not win anything. Like, that kind of tracks as a thing. It gets all these nominations, overperforms in text, which we'll get to. I think it will do weirdly well in text, but at the end of the day, will it actually get the wins necessary? Will it be able to sustain momentum in a way that I feel like the Brutalist will? I don't think so.
Yeah, no, I agree overall, but it's something to keep an eye on. Fiennes and Domingo both got everything. Again, Sing Sing fading is, I don't think Domingo's 100% locked in, but him getting BAFTA was.
It's not having effect on yeah, exactly. BAFTAs who they could have just ignored Domingo and done Craig. They could have done that, but they didn't.
Right, and they did Domingo.
It suggests he's just very strong, and he's an actor playing an actor. Like, there is a lot to nominate with him. He's got his clips, he's got his monologues and stuff like that. So I feel fine about Domingo.
Craig, he was nominated last year,
Yeah, Craig is the worry because he did miss BAFTA weirdly.
If he just got BAFTA, this would be easy.
Yeah, but he didn't. I think that the SAG's going for him, even though the SAG's, having seen the performance now, he's one of my favorite performances of the year, if not my favorite.
I mean, here's the thing. I think for both of us, Stan and The Apprentice and Craig and Queer are our personal 1 and 2.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be mad if either one got in. It's a good position to be in where we're hopeful that something good's going to happen, and we basically know something. Because even if Sebastian Stan for A Different Man, which is my third favorite,
would love that. Exactly.
Would also be great.
I'd love both to get in. And I think I'm slightly, even though Stan is my number 1 of the year and Craig is my number 2, I think I'm slightly leaning towards preferring Craig getting in, just because we know that The Apprentice is getting a nomination elsewhere, and it would be nice to see both of them recognized.
Queer being blanked would be a crying shame.
It would be hurtful.
So,
yeah. So I would really like to see Queer get any sort of recognition.
Yeah, and also we just don't know to the extent to which the Oscars will actually take for The Apprentice. We've seen international branches prefer The Apprentice, but the guilds, it hasn't done brilliant.
Jeremy Strong got SAG, which is
exactly
big,
which I think suggests he is maybe slightly isolated outside of the film, because they could have also just.
He's also not playing Donald Trump, which
exactly there is that whole aspect to it, which I think is actually a ding at this point rather than a positive.
It shouldn't be.
But it is.
It is. So I think the other thing that we have to look at is on the BAFTA long list, Sebastian Stan, his performance in The Apprentice was his only performance longlisted. So when voters got their ballot, there was no chance of vote splitting. And here's the thing, Sebastian Stan, when there's no chance of vote splitting, has done well. He won a Golden Globe. He got nominated both times in separate categories. He got a BAFTA nomination when there was no chance of vote splitting. Places where he can get vote splitting, SAG, Critics' Choice, he has not gotten in, because I do think that the vote splitting for him, like he's genuinely being a victim of his own success. He
Yeah.
had two performances that were too good.
Good enough to be Oscar
And
nominees, yeah.
right. And if he just had one, I think he'd be getting in. Like if a different man came out
Or
next year,
if he
like,
got nominated even for A Different Man at BAFTA, I think I would have been comfortable predicting him a Golden
but
Globe
it's
win
the
and a
fact that
BAFTA
the
nom. Yeah,
win, yeah.
the win and the nom were coming from different places. So
So I just think that the fact that at SAG and Critics' Choice, where there could be vote splitting amongst amongst the voters, he didn't get in. He didn't get in. He's done well when it is just isolated and focused around one performance.
yeah,
And I think, unfortunately, that is just going to hurt him here. And I think that Daniel Craig is just getting in.
yeah.
Now,
And I think with the whole Hugh Grant of it all,
I was going to say, there is a random fucking Hugh Grant with a Golden
but
Globe, Critics' Choice, and BAFTA.
Golden Globes, that makes sense. They do
Comedy,
12
but yeah.
people across
Yeah.
two. Critics' Choice, they do 6. So they did the 5 plus Hugh Grant. And
Right.
BAFTAs, the guy is a British icon. He didn't get into SAG. Like Hugh Grant, and it's a horror performance in a film that there are people that like the film. I thought the film was okay. I thought the film was fun enough.
It was, yeah.
There is a contingent of people that like it, but on the whole, it's not a major player outside of Hugh Grant, and he's not really doing enough. It would be weird for this to be Hugh Grant's first Oscar nom, which is
Right.
another thing. This would be his first Oscar nom, but that's been
I mean,
nowhere
for
in the
all
campaign.
3 of these, though, for Craig, Stan, and Grant, it's the first Oscar nom,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And the other thing with that is I just think that there is a bit more motivation to give Craig his first nom.
Exactly. That has seemed to be more of in the campaign than with the Grant and Stan. No doubt he will get an Oscar nom at some point. He is younger and
obviously incredibly talented because he just did 2 of the 3 best.
Yeah, I don't think
like,
there's no rush to give Sebastian Stan his first Oscar nomination. Like that,
it'll happen. I genuinely think he can win an Oscar at some point. Like I think
sure.
I think he should be winning an Oscar this year, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, no.
So I don't think Hugh Grant is a major worry. Put it that way. There are reasons for all of his nominations that are all different from one another as well.
Right.
So
I agree. All right, so we're going with this as the 5. This fuckfest.
This is a lot more, yes. Chaotic. Because look at how many people are on 2 noms in different places.
Right. So we have our locks. Zaldana and Grande are locked.
Yeah. Rossellini securing a BAFTA as well basically locked her in for me. Conclave is a massive film. She's not doing much, but that's not been held against her yet. So
yeah. No, sure she missed SAG, but like with the categories as messy as this, to be able to pull out with 3 nominations is big. And I just
SAG
think that
also were doing things like Overperforming a Complete Unknown and love Netflix performances, which makes sense why they went for someone like Deadweiler. So
right.
Yeah. It wasn't
a massive shock that she missed there. Yeah.
Exactly.
If and she missed BAFTA, Conclave, with Conclave being a top 2 Best Picture player, especially, like I think Rossellini makes sense. I feel comfortable with that. It is these last 2 spots.
Yeah.
SAG and BAFTA feels undeniable to me because
it's the best combo you could get. It is the best.
Right. If you got to get 2, that's the best one you can get, and it also means that she is like not only because they're the 2 with voting overlap, but it also means that she is surging right at the end, right as nominations are happening. She's also like she is just a figure in Hollywood, right? She's incredible at campaigning. Like
she was nominated fairly recently. She's in the club.
She won fairly recently.
She won fairly recently. Sorry, yes. So yeah, I think this has just become a fairly easy prediction to make that Jamie Lee Curtis
weirdly
will. Whereas basically she's come in as Margaret Qualley has fallen off. Like previously we were discussing, we had a sort of clear idea of the top 4, and then one of Gomez or Jones or Deadweiler we're gonna get in. Now,
which is quite sad about Qualley.
Yeah, it is sad. It is sad. It makes sense though for her to have been an early thing that people were doing, and then as we sort of the industry support for the substance just wasn't quite there in the way we were maybe hoping it would be, and Qualley has fallen off really, and Jamie Lee Curtis has been the one to surge. It's the last spot for me that's really like
I kind of want to push
both
Jones.
on the same noms. I'm pushing Gomez.
I would push Jones. I just don't think that Gomez is respected enough in the industry.
Yes, you're
And there
also
has been
not
so much
predicting Emilia
pushback against the
Perez.
performance.
There has been. No, there's been a lot of conversation about the performance,
No,
is
I
what there
know,
has
but
been.
it has been negative conversation. Not all like
Some of it. And yet some of it has been good enough conversation to get her a BAFTA and Golden Globe.
I get it,
Her
but
performance is
also
more on people's radar than
but
Jones.
she like I think it is more damaging that she didn't get SAG than that Jones didn't get SAG.
I would agree, but it's also more interesting that she got BAFTA and Jones didn't get BAFTA. And Jones got
Jones did
BAFTA.
get BAFTA.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
more interesting that
But
Gomez
I
got
think that
that
makes
spot.
sense. No, that makes sense though, because it is the international contingent who are just gonna go all out for Emilia Perez. I think Emilia Perez is gonna do very, very well at the Oscars. I don't think it's gonna overperform its guild its guild stack. Like I don't see it. I honestly would be more ready to predict a Monica Barbaro surprise over Gomez.
I mean, we'll come back to Monica Barbara. I
I
think
want to
that is
slide
just a thing.
Barbaro
Yeah,
at least up to here,
I think that is
like in the
just a
conversation.
thing that you can predict if you would like, and you have a good chance of getting it right. I just don't have the confidence to do that. I don't think it would actually come to anything. There's no logical reason to predict Monica Barbara other
It's
than
just the complete
sure
unknown
the Oscars
surge.
do surprise.
It's just the complete
Exactly.
unknown surge.
For me, this comes down to a simple game of which film will be bigger at the in Best Picture, and one of them is going to win Best Picture. In my opinion, the other one is going to slightly, well, it's just not going to do that. So for me, it's a simple maths game, and therefore I'd put Selena Gomez in. I think that they're both. She's in the film as a lead, and she won a Cannes. Like Cannes went for all of the actors in one. They just did this big bubble, and so it makes sense for Saldana Gomez and Gascon. They're all the faces of the film, all three of them, which is why Gascon isn't a win contender because she could very well be. She's in the Best Picture winning film, but it's because it is that kind of ensemble thing, and I think they will just all come along for the ride at the Oscars itself. So
I don't know.
you're not going to shade me
I
on
don't see
Gomez.
it for
I'm going for
Gomez.
Gomez.
I'm going Jones. I'm
Sure.
going Jones and I'm going Barbaro 6, but we can leave Gomez at 6 because you want
I
it.
mean, yeah, sure. Barbaro, I think there is every chance. Deadweiler, unfortunately, I think is just a thing that happens at SAG and then doesn't happen
I
at the
agree.
Oscars
In
once
quality, I
again.
just think I would love to be surprised on nomination morning, but I just don't
I
see that
think she
happening
lost all
very soon.
momentum. Lost all momentum. And Angelou Ellis obviously should be
Should
up
be in there.
winning.
Yeah.
Winning, frankly. But
Yep.
that's not gonna happen.
Yeah. No. Um, I don't know. I something about Gomez I just don't think will happen. I just think that there is enough ill will against her. I really do.
And I think there
So
are enough people who will see that ill will and who really like Emilia Perez and will therefore be more inclined to go for her. I
yeah.
just think when it comes to awards, all conversation is good conversation, pretty much. Like,
I think that's true to an extent, but like I think Gomez is I'm not saying Gomez isn't in the conversation. I just think that with a race as tight as this, like I think all conversation is good conversation to get you in the discussion. I don't think that all conversation is good conversation or is positive, right? When it comes to as fine margins as these.
could be true. That could be true. But yeah, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Supporting actor.
I
This
feel
is
good
a
about
lot
a
more
five there. I
simple.
feel good about a five
I
there.
feel quite good. So Kieran Culkin, obviously, when he's probably just going to sweep your Bursov in getting everything.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic. Fucking
Yeah,
fantastic that that's happened.
exactly.
Um,
That is, I mean, it's
n-
SAG. Even he got that. Like,
yeah,
Euroborisov is in. Edward
he's
Norton
so
is
in.
also
Is
in. And
in.
Jeremy Strong, SAG and BAFTA, we
He's
said
got
that was
second
enough to put
BAFTA.
Jamie Lee Curtis in. He got a
Plus he's
Golden
got
Globe
Globe.
nom as well.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
Strong is in. Strong is in.
Strong is in, which is fantastic. So deserved. He's my personal winner. Um, and then with Guy Pearce, like here's the thing. I think that the brutalist underperformance at SAG I think is a slight blip. I do think it'll be enough to potentially hold it back from challenging for Best Picture, but I still think that both Pierce and Jones are gonna get their nominations. I still think that this is one of the biggest, most acclaimed films of the year. That even if they aren't gonna be winning contenders, they're still gonna be able to slip in. And I just think that Guy Pearce still has enough to slip in. Uh,
I just don't know if the conversation is quite there for the performances. I'd put Guy Pearce in because I think the only place he missed was where they didn't love the film,
okay,
whereas
but
Felicity Jones also missed elsewhere.
he
So
was just Critics' Choice though. Like,
yeah, but Critics' Choice and SAG misses are they're not a good sign. Whereas Guy Pearce was, even when Felicity Jones is missing, Guy Pearce could still get in. So I think Guy Pearce is fairly solidly in, especially because Macklin just I don't think the Oscars will be the place where Sing Sing is saved. I don't think Sing Sing
yeah,
can suddenly re-enter the Best Picture nomination and can suddenly
right.
get Macklin again. The BAFTA was great for him, but I think that is enough for yeah. I just
Yeah.
don't think. I mean, it's so weird this nomination all for Clarence Macklin. You'd expect him to get Critics' Choice and
And
SAG,
SAG.
and
And he got
maybe
Globe and BAFTA.
for BAFTA. I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
what world we're living in where that is, but that is the world. So Macklin is
Denzel,
definitely.
he didn't get SAG and BAFTA. He needed
He's
at least
Margaret
one.
Qualley as well.
Yep. And then Jonathan Bailey, I just think that is kind of a symptom of them loving Wicked more than anything else. I don't think that there's any
Yeah,
real movement behind his performance.
no, he is playing second fiddle to Grande and Arrivo, and they are a very clear pair. It's both of
And
them.
they're a
Jonathan
very
Bailey.
strong fiddle.
Jonathan Bailey
So
is not on the poster for Wicked.
right.
He's not. He's not there. He's basically non-existent in the film. He's there.
And at
all
this
right,
point,
but
to be contending and supporting an actor, you basically have to be a lead. So
yeah, like Guy Pearce apparently is in the film quite a
Kieran
lot.
Culkin
Jeremy
is a lead.
Strong,
Zoe
Kieran Culkin's
Saldana
a
is a
lead.
lead. Ariana Grande is a lead.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
lead right there.
you know.
So yeah, yeah. No,
All
I think
right.
this category is more straightforward.
Original screenplay. I I don't know, guys. I think there's a locked four.
Yeah,
Anora, A Real Pain, Brutalist Substance. I think this is going to be Sean Baker's Oscar. I think that he wins this.
yeah, yeah.
Um, um, um. So what?
I
I know
think
you think
challengers.
challengers. You think
I think
challengers.
challengers. I think the other option is I'm Still Here, which I would add to the list. Take off Civil
Yeah.
War. Civil War's not.
Okay. Well, I put it on because it got
I
WGA.
know,
Okay.
I
Okay.
know.
Okay. Okay. I've put on everything that got precursors. Um. Yeah.
I just think September 5th will be banned. And we talked about this in Picture, and it's the exact same reasoning. Enough people will just ignore that film and don't like that
Wait. Did you
film
say I'm
or
still
don't
here?
know.
I'm
I'm
still
saying
here
I'm
is
Still Here to
adapted.
be added to the list. Oh, is I'm Still Here adapted? Oh, okay. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well,
If it's gonna
then.
be an international film, it's All We Imagine Is Light for me. No, but I'm still here is
Oh,
adapted.
yeah, fine. No, all that we imagine it's like it's not. It's not an international feature this year, and that is harmed the film.
I'm still putting it here. No, yeah, yeah. I don't think it's impossible though. I really don't. And yeah, no. I know we talk about I'm still here in screenplay, but we'll get to that when we go over to adapted.
Yeah.
But I don't
To
know.
me, it's challenges by default. It's not the usual thing the Oscars would go for, but enough people will be looking at this list and going, "Challengers had a good screenplay. It's by a fairly well regarded screenwriter."
With
It's
Justin Kurtzky's. I
yeah.
mean, he had a year this year with Queer.
Exactly.
I've seen he's been doing interviews on Good Morning America and stuff. I mean, I don't know if I call him well regarded. This is kind of like his breakout year,
Yeah, so all the more reason to nominate him.
I suppose. Like it was his first
And
screenplay, actually.
yeah, well, there you go. And wasn't it a good screenplay to start on?
I
There's a
think
lot
that
of
you're stretching here.
the challenges
I think
screenplay is an element of the film that people like. People like that it's twisty and turny. People like that it's this kind of tense thing. There's enough there for you to just put challenges on by default.
I just think I with September 5 getting PGA, we're not doing it for picture. We aren't.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel comfortable completely blanking September 5 because it's not like Challengers has been overperforming at guilds or anything. It got WGA because of ineligibilities. If there were not ineligibilities, it is not getting WGA. Let's just be completely honest here.
Why not? Why would it not be in the 5 still?
Why? Say also
Why
there's
would it
mild
not
SNE
just
cap down
be?
here
Well, I mean, yeah, we can ignore this. Why
because
would
I
it
think
not
it's
just
September
be
5. I think September 5 gets WGA if it's eligible. I really do.
I mean, sure, but that's again the same.
But
It's
it
the
has
same
more guild
conversation.
support. But I know I understand, but like that got PGA.
We know it has support. It doesn't have more guild support. It has more support amongst the producers.
Well, right. What guild support has challengers got at all?
Well, but it might have writers guild support, as evidenced by the
Well,
WGA.
right, because of ineligibilities. Like I am not convinced. Did challengers get ACE? Let's see here. It did.
Yes,
There's that. They got over September
and it
5.
also might get score, and it also might get. I
I would
envision a
love it
challengers
to be
overperform.
I would love
I
it to be
envision them
challengers.
taking.
You can have this one because I took supporting actress
Yeah,
with Felicity Jones. You can have this one. I desperately want you to be correct. Challengers significantly better film by September 5 and by literally every way. I would love for September 5 to be blanked. It is my least favorite besides Amelia Paris of the Best Picture contenders.
yeah.
I I just can't say that I'm entirely convinced or feel comfortable with blanking it after PGA. It just feels wrong. I think you said Crazy Heart was the last film or something like that. What was it?
Crazy Rich Asians was the last
Crazy Rich
film to
Asians.
get
Oh, not Crazy Heart.
PGA and
Remember
nothing
Crazy.
else.
Right. And September 5 isn't that Crazy
It's
Heart.
not that. It's not that. It's not that.
Um, it's not that, and that's the issue.
But it has been ignored completely. It was ignored completely at BAFTAs. And my philosophy is that it will just be ignored completely again. And there's no reasoning for that specifically.
And
But
I guess because of this is why I have All Imagine Slate there, and why I could still see a potential surprise. Like I don't think
I
that it is a solid thing. I think if All Imagine Slate bucks up the support, maybe it slips in. I'm not saying that it will. It's definitely the number 7 behind these two,
I just
but
don't even think it's a screenplay thing. People aren't even I just don't see that at all, really,
maybe
to be honest. So
I don't know. We
I
can go
wouldn't be
challengers.
surprised. I there could be a surprise here. I just think challenges is more. There could be a surprise and it could be Civil War. There could be a surprise and it'll be Kneecap suddenly getting in.
Right.
I can see this category being weird, which is why I don't mind doing something a little weird, a little more unusual than they'd usually go for in something like challenges, because there is no clear option there. There's no clear option
Yeah.
unless you're putting September 5 in picture. I guess then the option would be fairly self-explanatory, but we're not doing
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We can go with this. We can go with this. Adapted. This is where I want to throw I'm Still Here on here.
Yeah, but I'm still here. I guess put it 7. Yeah.
I just have no confidence in Dune happening. Dune is one where it definitely
No,
doesn't get in
June.
without
Yeah,
WGA. Like
it's
without WGA and eligibilities. It
yeah.
100%
It
misses.
barely got in 2021, and this year it's significantly reduced impact
Yeah.
on this award season. So it's not going to be June, I don't think. Wicked could
Let's
sneak in. There's nothing to stop Wicked potentially sneaking in over something like Sing Sing. Nickel Boys could be blanked completely. Let's not rule that out as a possibility, but it's done well
right.
enough in screenplay categories
Yeah, I
thus
mean, with
far.
Critics' Choice, I still think that could have gotten in with ineligibilities at WGA. It might. I mean, Complete Unknown's probably win WGA. And let's move Complete Unknown up to number 2 while we're at it.
Yes, because also same logic as Jamie Lee Curtis, like WGA BAFTA, that is a
Best combo.
solid combo. It missed
Best
Critics'
combo.
Choice,
And again,
but
Nickel Boys has it. Nickel Boys has it. But I just think that we aren't even sure that's getting Best Picture, and Amelia Paris might be the Best Picture winner. So Amelia Paris
oh
is
yeah,
probably
Emilia
winning.
Perez is in, and then I think it is down to really those three: Sing Sing, Wicked, and I'm Still Here. Wicked, it's just they don't usually do musicals, and they're already doing one. So will they
Yeah,
do two?
I even want to
Probably
throw I'm
not.
Still Here number 6, just because I
I'd
think
be
it
happy
has
with
a
that.
lot of momentum. It has a lot of momentum. The thing is just that is surging and Sing Sing is falling. Is Sing Sing gonna fall enough and will I'm Still Here surge enough to pass it up? I'm not convinced yet, which is why we have I'm Still Here at 13 in Best Picture and Sing Sing at
Yeah,
12, right?
exactly.
But I don't think it's impossible that I'm Still Here takes this last
I think the Sing
finish
Sing
off.
getting the BAFTA was very, very good for it because that's was unexpected, really, at that stage. And for Sing Sing to go from adapted screenplay winner to not even nominated, I don't think it's fallen that far, personally.
No, I mean it's the past lives conversation, right? The thing
Yeah.
is that I think this is weaker than past lives, though. Even with the actor nom, I do think that this is weaker overall than past lives as a film.
Yeah.
Going into nomination morning. So I, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it in there. Um, but I guess even with WJ BAFTA, is there a possibility that they don't do Nickel Boys?
There is that possibility. I would just choose to hope that possibility doesn't
Not
exist
live
and
in that
not
world.
to predict
Not
it.
live in that
Exactly.
world.
WG BAFTA, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, Nickel
You
Boys
know,
is fine in
you know,
screenplay, and the source material itself was regarded as unadaptable and very critically acclaimed, but not
right.
adaptable, and yet it was adapted beautifully and perfectly. So therefore,
Uh-huh.
get it in the lineup.
For sure. For sure. No, I
And
think this makes
Hitman,
sense.
thank you for being here, but
Your
you're
prize is getting on this list
yes, exactly.
at all. Yeah. No, I feel good with this five. I feel good with this five. And in the end, I don't think I'm still here will end up coming to fruition. I do think it'll just be this five pretty easily.
Yeah,
But there's a seeded out back in here, back
yeah,
in my mind.
for sure, for sure.
Okay, into the tech categories. So we got a four probably. I mean, like Brutalist Conclave, Dune, obviously. Dune, I think we can throw above Conclave, surely, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean
Brutalist,
they're
I
all
think is
in.
just winning, right? Like
Yes,
it's
yeah,
Gadu. Conclave is just happening. Now Nosferatu has gotten everything so
just
far.
happening, just happening. Nosferatu has
It's
been
just
doing
happening.
well. It's got guild support, so I can see it clocking up for nominations. Nosferatu on a good day, which I think it probably will be. And I would put a complete unknown number 5. I just think Wicked will maybe underperform, and a complete unknown will overperform in text. I can see it now. It's surging at the right time. And text will
Here's the thing.
just slightly fall into place for it.
Nosferatu, I could see being a Top Gun situation where it is a more populist pick that gets everything it needs to and then just kind of dies. In
Maybe,
favor of
but it
potentially two
is,
of these getting in.
yeah, it is as close to black and white as you can get, though, and things like the Lighthouse has happened before. So Eggers I assume it's the same cinematographer Eggers is using.
I don't actually. It's Yaron Blank sheet. Yeah, I believe so. I believe so.
Okay,
Yeah, same
so
cinematographer.
previous nominee, like,
Yeah,
and say what you like about the film, and it was quite a dull film.
did not care
It
for it. Yeah,
it looks pretty, it just has that cinematography appeal. So
right.
whereas
It's an
Top
easy
Gun,
nomination to do.
yeah.
Now, yeah. So you have a Wicked with Critics' Choice AC. You have Dune here still with ASC. Is Dune really going to miss cinematography?
What? No, you've got June on. What are you talking about?
Oh shit, I have Dune on there twice. What am I talking about? It's early in the morning. I'm tired.
Yeah.
Um,
No, because to answer your question, no, June definitely
no, it
won't
won't.
miss.
It definitely won't. I was looking at it. I was like, why the fuck do I have it on there? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't see Amelia Paris happening. I don't. I think that was a random one-off.
No.
I would have liked to see that get ASC. Girl with
Yeah.
the Needle is something to consider because that was also listed on the Spotlight category, along with Nickel Boys, and that is that type of international choice that you could see slipping in there. That is a black and white film,
Mm.
and it looks quite stunning, right? That could be that random shout, similar to an El Conde. Speaking of El Conde, which I did predict successful last year. Thank you. Edward Lockman, Maria, Pablo Larraín. Now, is this quite as black and white, as stunning as El Conde?
Oh, no.
No, no, it is not. It looks nice though. It still looks nice. It still looks nice, and it's Edward Lockman who this branch loves. Did it get ASC? No, and that's what hurts it. Um, in a field of like 7. I don't have Murray happening, but it is a dark horse. Like I really genuinely could see it being any of these 5.
Yes, I mean, yeah, as you said, we can't rule out Nickel Boys. I just ASC was a weird, like, What? I don't
Why?
know why it would happen in
And it
Spotlight
has
and
the
not. I
spotlight.
don't know what. Yeah, I'm still just confused about that, and it missed BAFTA as well. I mean,
And you know
it's
what?
there.
I want to put it in.
I just disagree. I feel
I
I would.
think this could be a lighthouse type thing.
Why would it be Nickel Boys over like The Girl with the Needle? Which I think people were actually. I'm not going to make that argument. People were maybe perturbed by the first person point of view, I guess, but I don't think there would have been enough people that were. So
No.
I don't entirely agree with that myself. I just think a complete unknown is the safe one to do. It's surging. It's going to over. It got the
I guess
AFC
Lighthouse still got BAFTA.
randomly.
I was looking, Lighthouse still got more stuff.
Okay.
That still got BAFTA. Um, yeah.
I think a complete unknown, and you don't have to agree with that, but
I'm
no
still,
other reason than the surge. The surge
yeah.
is strong.
I'm
The
fine with that at
surge is
6 and
strong.
Wicked at 7. I
Yeah, just part of me just thinks Wicked's not going to happen. Like,
right. I
I
agree.
just think it's people don't like the cinematography in that film.
Hmm.
ASC did, but the majority of people haven't taken to it, weirdly.
Right. I just purely off gut feeling and hopium. Um, I I'm gonna stick with Nickel Boys and cinematography. I could see you being totally right though on a complete unknown and that just slipping in. Who is the cinematographer for a complete unknown? I just feel like the cinematographer's branch can like reach deep in there and pull some shit out their ass. Sometimes even when it's something isn't doing as well at precursors,
Yeah,
if the cinematographer's branch really likes something right and like I could see Nickel Boys just happening. And I think that the cinematography of that is the most appealing to the international branch. And with margins, that's about 20% with margins as fine as this. Maybe that's just enough to get it in over more populist options like a complete unknown and Wicked.
yeah. Or Nosferatu, even for that matter. I wouldn't be surprised if Nosferatu misses, and it's like
Yeah, that could 100% happen. It
so.
could 100% happen.
I am fine keeping this as is because I also agree Nickel Boys should be obviously the nominee here, and there are valid reasons to maybe think that it can still happen. So, but
Yeah,
I would personally be predicting it can be unknown.
that's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get into editing now. So, like, is Anora like what's number one here? Because I don't know if it's
I
Dune.
I think it might well be June. I think we might be blind to it like we slightly were in 2021, where we thought, June's got all these tech things, but is it going to win editing? And then it just absolutely won editing, yes. And
Yeah.
I get the idea. It's a nice idea for Anora to be winning editing because it does have some of the best editing of the year, but it's not there's no real reason to go for it other than you like the film. Conclave, I think there is at least a reason to go for the editing. It does have something about it that makes it like very noticeable, I guess.
But my thought is just with these three films and Amelia Paris too,
Yeah.
does whatever win Best Picture just also take editing?
I don't imagine Amelia Perez will. Because even the people that love it say it's a little bit messy and ill
Yeah, I can say,
structured.
look, Amelia Paris can get a sound nom. It is on the short list. I just wanted to double
Yeah.
check. That can get a sound nom.
I
Dune is
think if
probably winning
Anora or
sound though.
I think if Anora or Conclave are winning Best Picture, then you would be correct in predicting it to win editing as well. My thing is Amelia Perez is probably going to win, and therefore I think June
Right.
is more
And
probable.
Dune is probably winning sound.
Yeah, exactly. There's that aspect too. So
So yeah. For this
either way, I
last
mean that's a
nomination,
solid top four. Last
yeah, I think
nomination,
that's the
yeah.
easy top four. It's a picture 3 plus Dune. For this last one, I'm kind of leaning towards Wicked right here because it got
Yeah,
ACE, and it is just that it is probably number 2 or number 3 in sound.
Yeah, no, we talked about this. I was, thinking challenges, but then, yeah, maybe there. Wicked is just going to be a more favoured film. The Brutalist, I think, is not going to get editing. It's that kind of 3 hour, very long film that often
Right.
can miss
The
this
ACE
category.
miss, the ACE miss is concerning as well as the BAFTA miss. Like
Yeah,
Wicked at least got ACE.
yeah. So no, I think Wicked is a solid one to go for. It's a musical as well. It's got that. It's and people were praising the film for being 2 hours and a half, but not feeling that and not feeling rushed and whatever. And the fact that they were cutting together a one act of a film,
Especially musicals do well in editing.
Yeah.
Like
a lot of
with the
people's
sound
compliments of Wicked also are or sort of disguised as compliments of the film's editing. The fact that it felt snappy, the fact that it never felt rushed, and it felt, they're all editing quirks. So yeah,
for sure.
I'd feel fine about Wicked.
Challengers is certainly there with Critics' Choice and ACE. I just like for film outside Best Picture to get in. I think the most recent one is Tick Tick Boom. Like since it over the last couple of
yeah, which I think the two are slightly comparable. They both also are very
but that
punchy
was a
editing and
musical
have
with
something
sound.
about it.
But that was
But exactly, there were other aspects to Tick Tick, and Tick Tick Boom in a year of 10 would have got in reasonably. I think that's a reasonable assumption to make.
Yeah. Well, was it year? I think it was
Was
year
it year
10.
10? Oh, did it
I think
just
it was.
miss? Unfortunately,
It just
I
missed.
bet it. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, it just
So
missed.
okay.
So yeah, that's why like challengers could happen. It would just feel weird for that to just get editing, and I'm not even convinced of a screenplay nomination. We already talked about the Brutalist. September 5, as mentioned, it's there, but without any industry support, like it didn't get ACE or BAFTA. So I don't know. And then A Complete Unknown I did throw on there.
A Complete Unknown, yes, it's
it
missed
missed
everything.
ACE, but it's having a surge and it has a sound nomination.
So if they just like the film, they may just go for it.
They could just
I
chuck it in.
mean, exactly,
I'm not
and it's just
convinced,
sort of
but the 5 spot is open.
the ACE is a weird miss, but it wouldn't surprise me if A Complete Unknown is overperforming to that extent, really.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But no, I feel good with this 5 though, as of now.
For sure.
As of now. Okay, production design, that's gonna bother me. Let's just there we go.
There we go.
Now it looks nice. Production design, Wicked's gonna sweep probably. It's a big
Wicked's
musical,
gonna
it's
sweep.
bold, it's fun,
Yep.
whatever, right? Brutalist, it's about architecture. Sure.
Dune is not missing this.
Dune. I mean, really, it's just going to be the 5 that got everything, surely. Conclave and then Nosferatu.
And in Nosferatu, if we're predicting cinematography, it makes sense for it to be getting maybe 2 or 3 other tech nominations. And I think production design is one that would arguably, in my book, be the most worthy of nominating. Maybe makeup. But I did think that they were able to create a world with Nosferatu. So I can
here's
see
what's
why
interesting.
it has picked up in this.
Here's what's interesting. Just a second. So we have 4 out of 5 match up with cinematography. They have matched up 5 of 5 a few times recently. I think about 2021 where Power of the Dog managed to get cinematography, even though he managed to get production design right to match up with cinematography, and they went 5 for 5. If we're saying that Wicked is winning production design, should we have it under cinematography 5?
I don't think so still, because people's most common complaint with Wicked was cinematography. That was what even people who liked the film were saying. Yeah, color grading was a bit weird. And I know color grading isn't cinematography, but to a lot of people, they are the same thing, essentially. Right. So
I don't know. I actually want to look. I'm going to pause this quickly, and I will be back in a second. I want to look and see the last time a production design winner missed cinematography. We'll be back in a second. Okay. So we looked. It was 2018 with Black Panther. Now 3 of the last 5 have won both, and obviously those last 5 have all crossed over with the production design winner. But Black Panther Wicked, I guess, is comparable, where it has really nice, world building, production design, big populist blockbuster type film, missed cinematography.
Yeah, I don't think we need to just slide Wicked in because of production design. I think this is a solid 5, and I think the cinematography we looked over, and again, I just don't think Wicked can really sneak in there.
I think it can sneak into cinematography. I definitely think it can.
I think it's on a lower level to other stuff. I'd put in A Complete Unknown if they are just doing one that is slightly more popular and in the best picture lineup, as opposed to maybe Nosferatu or Nickel Boys. I think A Complete Unknown comes before Wicked at least. But I don't know.
Maybe. But yeah, with production design though, we kind of got distracted. I think it's just this 5. If anything, I think it would be A Complete Unknown, right?
Yeah. Emilia Perez didn't
Probably
even get
not.
the BAFTA, and BAFTA loved that film. So
Yeah,
I'd say so. And Gladiator 2 is just, we'll get
chilling.
to, I think it's got 2 chances of getting in. And
Yeah.
we might get both of them. Gladiator 2 does have a strong chance of walking away with 2 noms, which honestly is not bad for it, given how underperforming it's been.
Right.
But production design, costume design, I think are gone for Gladiator 2. Really.
Agreed. And yeah, I think, when you have 5 films that get everything, it's kind of hard to do.
It's yeah.
So, yep. All right. Costumes. This is just gonna be Wicked Sweep again, right?
Yep.
Conclave, Nosferatu both got everything. Dune is here as well. I feel good about these 4.
Yeah. I would not be confident in Maria. Yes, I would do that. I would do literally that.
I think that we're gonna like the Lorraine women in historical women trilogy, that thing has had diminishing returns, right? Jackie had 3 nominations. There's actress, costumes, score. Spencer unfortunately only got actress. Should have had cinematography. Claire Mathon,
Should have had
best
costumes
cinematographer of
as
the year.
well.
Should have costumes as well. Should have had a lot more things. But that only got best actress, right? And Maria, it has even less talk about it than that. It might not even get actress. We talked about potentially an Edward Lockman sneak, but I think Maria in the end is just going to be shut out.
Yeah.
With Gladiator 2, I just don't think there's, again, enough conversation around it. And when you're looking here, what has the most talk? What has the most, the most about it? Now, why the fuck did Complete Unknown miss CDG? I don't know. They did happen earlier. It happened maybe a little bit before this surge,
Yeah.
and maybe a bit before voters had gotten around to seeing it. I don't know. It is a bit strange that it missed CDG, because it would have been in the period category. But it just feels like the one with the most momentum. Like Maria and Gladiator just kind of feel dead in the water.
Yeah, Amelia Perez would be a sign of massive overperformance of the Oscars,
Right.
but it's not a thing that needs to happen for the film. It's not something that's been happening. Really, like we didn't see a Critics' Choice or BAFTA, so I wouldn't say it's a must to nominate it in costume design. And when you've got something like A Complete Unknown that has just picked up a nomination,
it feels
it's
weird.
momentum.
So
It's
it
just
would have been in the
momentum.
period category, right? And they nominated Book of Clarence, Gladiator 2, Maria, Nosferatu, and Saturday Night. Why have Book of Clarence and Saturday Night gotten in over Complete Unknown? And again, you can't really say issue seeing it. Like nominations were announced December 13th. So voting happened early December. So it was before it came out. Now Nosferatu did get in here. So I don't know if Nosferatu they just got it out to voters soon. Like that's really the only way. Because like even if that is slightly before the surge, there's absolutely no way why Complete Unknown should be missing for Book of Clarence, right?
No.
It's very very strange. So honestly, I feel like you could almost write that off to the nominations happening 2 to 3 weeks before the movie's out, as far as voting period.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't take too much stock because at the end of the day, whilst guilds do show us kind of things, they're not always accurate. Guilds can
Sure.
sometimes have because they're doing things a lot earlier. They're not catering to like they may have better choices. In fact, if you're following film awards, the guilds are arguably the place you look at as fine, either except unless you're DGA and doing weird stuff. So I wouldn't take too much stock into that. I think the BAFTA nom was sign that it was is at least possible. And if it's possible, my philosophy with the Complete Unknown is if it's possible,
it might
more than
happen.
likely going to happen, which is a worry for
One
something
thing,
like Monica Barbaro.
right?
But,
Which is why I'm toying with the idea of having Barbaro in. And also, if you want to see like our final locked-in predictions, I think both of us, Jesus Christ, my throat. I think both of us will probably put them on a word expert.
Awards expert, yeah.
So go follow us on awards expert. Subtle plug. And I hated that. Did not like that, Trevor. But yes, you can follow us over there, and that's where we'll put all of our final predictions and everything. We'll probably be updating those right up to the night before nominations happen. So, because I might end up throwing Barbaro in. One thing to keep in mind with Gladiator is something like Napoleon last year, which looked like it was dead in the water and still managed to get costume design, production design, and VFX.
Yep.
There's that
That's
to keep in
definitely
mind.
true. Gladiator 2, though, is sort of a big blockbuster sequel that is being looked at less than Dune right now. Like if you're trying to find a big blockbuster sequel that's not being talked about, Dune 2's there and it's still going to get noms, whereas Gladiator is a step even below that. So
Sure.
I just don't think things will fall its way.
Yeah. No, I see that. I totally see that. Okay. I think I feel good with this.
Yep.
Complete or none. Makeup and hair. I'm just gonna tap this down so we can see the full short list because we got a short list of 10 here. Okay. So Maria, Apprentice, Waltzing with Brando. Still don't really know what this is. Have gotten absolutely nothing. Now Substance is probably winning, right? Right, guys? Surely,
Yes,
hopefully,
I would agree, and I would put Wicked and Amelia Perez. Yeah,
right there.
I would be tempted to snub June here. I think here is one place where June can miss again. Like I don't think it will get all the texts.
What do you think it gets? Do you think they'll do a different man?
I think they'll
Because
do a
I
different
kind of
man,
think
or I
they'll do
think
a
they'll do
different man.
Beetlejuice. I think there is a good chance. I looked at the makeup and hairstyling awards, and Beetlejuice was nominated a lot there, like in makeup and hairstyling, whereas Different Man was only makeup. So whether that has any sway over things, I'm not
No,
sure.
a different man had prosthetics, right?
Right.
And if you look at the makeup and hairstylist awards, like the prosthetics category is usually the one that you want to look at the most.
Yeah. So I would be happy to put a Different Man in over June. It feels like it's not about makeup, but it's definitely about the process of making someone appear different. So
Yeah.
that it will
A
cater to
different
their
man
kind of.
feels like remember when they did like Border by Ali Abbasi? Like it feels like that sort of thing.
Yeah, and I just think June will miss tech noms, and this is a place where it
Yeah.
is vulnerable.
Even though we still haven't win the editing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I'm not entirely convinced of, but we'll get the winner. Like it's definitely getting nominated. Yeah, I'm fine with putting even Beetlejuice right here. Yeah. No, I'm fine with that. Do we even want to put in Beetlejuice over Nosferatu or leave Nosferatu?
I would be tempted.
Because makeup can go a
I
bit rogue. I'm
honestly
down
would
to throw
actually. I
Beetlejuice.
would actually
Yeah,
would, yeah. Because that would be really, really good for Nosferatu if it did.
right. I don't
Like
think it'll
I'm
do even
still,
that well.
even though we're putting it in a lot of categories, I still feel weirdly skeptical towards it. So I don't want to.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
I'm
I
fine
think
with doing this.
that is a good five. That is a good five.
All
With
right,
a very
perfect.
clear winner. So
Obviously the substance. Yeah, yeah. If the
full
substance
stop.
doesn't win this, what are we doing, guys?
I mean,
Actually, what are we doing? Okay, sound. Here's our sound short list. So notably, they weren't able to do the Bake Off this year because of the fires. So, you know, there isn't that extra showcase, right?
yeah.
Which has
Which I
helped
think,
stuff in the past. That's gonna hurt
yeah,
stuff like Alien and like
and
Blitz.
Deadpool, and yeah. So
Yeah, yeah. With this, I think Amelia Paris probably gets in.
yes, definitely put
My
it
top
for
three, I feel locked, and
keep that
Dune's
three, and
winning.
June will win
Wicked. They
sound.
did the onset singing, complete and right. Like these three in.
Yeah,
Amelia Paris, I think, is getting in. Now, Wild
just by
Robot,
nature of being a
I
big.
have down there because like it was only getting into the animated category, so we don't really know how it would have competed, even though it did get both MPSE and CAS. I'm tempted to throw Gladiator in here.
I think this is where Gladiator can at least get one nomination. We'll get to VFX next. I think that is the only other one it stands a chance for, really. And just because big battles, fights, there is sound to do in Gladiator, whereas Blitz, Deadpool, Wolverine, Alien, Joker, they're just not features at all. Even though Gladiator 2 is not going to be getting noms, the rest aren't features at all this award season.
Right.
So
I keep an eye on Blitz potentially. I've seen a few pieces of that that have
maybe,
highlighted the sound, just featurettes and stuff. So
yeah.
there's a possibility, but yeah, I would lean, especially without the Bake Off. I think you just have to lean towards whatever is the most in voters' minds, which I think these last two spots are going to be Amelia Paris and Gladiator because of that.
Yeah, for sure.
VFX. So Dune's winning, obviously. Planet of the Apes is going to get in. Better Man, they made the monkeys. Both of these two. Gladiator probably gets in. And Wicked, like I just
I'd
like this
slide Wicked
bunch.
above. Yeah, I'd slide Wicked
Yeah,
above Gladiator just because I think Wicked is definitely in. And then it is VFX, so any one of them could randomly sneak up and take Gladiator's place, but Gladiator is definitely
Yeah,
the safer one.
I think it would be Mufasa if it was one.
Um, Potentially, people really seem to like Twisters for some reason. So
I thought Twisters was fun. Did you ever see
yeah,
Twisters?
I never saw Twisters. No,
It was a good time. I
never
give it
saw
like a
Twisters.
6 out of like it's fun. I don't know.
Yeah, but the film has carried weight, and people do still like it. So potentially, Civil War, I think, is rogue, and then the other two.
I wouldn't completely write off Civil War.
For
I really wouldn't.
VFX,
For VFX, just not even because of the VFX. I'm dead. I was gonna put that 6. That has overperformed everywhere with guilds. Like that made WGA. That got into like
did
ADG. That got an ACE nomination.
it did? Yeah.
I think I
Okay.
may have just
Yeah.
talked
Fair
myself
enough.
into putting it into the 5 because I think that there's a lot of love and support for Civil War, and I could totally see just with how because like everybody saw it. It was one of the biggest films of the year. I feel like there is just a lot of general support for it. I feel like people will think it's relevant, and I feel like if they see that, you're more inclined to go for that. And with just how well it's done in guilds, there's obvious industry support for this movie. It,
To be honest, yeah, I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, actually, that makes sense as an argument. Yeah,
it makes sense
I'm
because
not opposed to
people
it.
talk
Yeah.
about, oh well, it's just the VFX, right? But remember when Godzilla minus one won the Oscar?
Yeah.
And it was a talk
Yeah.
about, okay, all the passion for this film is just funneling into just VFX because that's the only place where it's
Yeah.
competing.
I guess the question is I just because that's the only place we look at as being competitive. Does that really mean all the momentum is being channeled there, or is that the kind of thing that happens once you get a nom? So, say Civil War did
Maybe,
get a nom in
but
editing, all the thing would have been
yeah, but I
given.
feel like VFX is different.
Well, no, but I guess all I'm saying is that you're approaching that from a hindsight, like that's
I
supposing Civil
suppose
War gets the nom, whereas like we don't know if all of the momentum is being channeled there. That there's nothing that
I
really
suppose
visually
I'm just
shows
saying
that.
that I think that all of the guild momentum does show that there
It
is
suggests that
love for
Civil
this movie in the
War.
industry.
It suggests that logistically Civil War should be getting a nom. I guess
Right.
is what it is.
Right.
And so yeah, if we want to
It
do that,
wouldn't be
then
getting
that's
ACE and WGA and like ADG and like overperforming everywhere if that wasn't the case. So
yeah,
I actually feel okay throwing this in.
yeah. No, sounds good.
Okay, score.
Easy win for the Brutalist here, or should be at
Yeah,
least.
it should be an easy win. Amelia Paris surely getting in. Like Conclave Wild Robot, these 4 have gotten everything.
Yeah,
For this last spot, so the guy who composed Nosferatu, this is like his second score. He's only done this in The Northman. He is not a name, and I would be leaning towards Challengers.
I think
Just
challenges. Yes,
I think
I
Challengers
think
gets in
challenges
here.
gets in it.
Now, like we'd have it with screenplay and score. I'm not convinced the screenplay. I think it might just be a score thing. But I think that having the names of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are very helpful here, right? Like they are names. Um,
The score being as big and as talked about as it
yeah,
was
and it
helps
won the Globe,
because
which put eyes on it.
yeah, because it is an unconventional score, but it's one that a lot of people will probably have as the number one of the year. In fact, we saw that when it won the Golden Globe. So
Right?
a lot of people have it number one. Will it actually win the Oscar?
No.
Highly unlikely because it is slightly too polarizing, but easily enough to get a nom. So yeah, I do feel good about it. And Nosferatu, the score was not an aspect of that film that
Yeah,
really warrants awarding. I don't think.
for sure,
And I
for
think
sure.
some people probably agree. So yeah,
Wicked could pop out, but I think if you're going to do a musical, you're going to do Amelia Paris, and I think that there is less obvious original score
yeah,
work with Wicked than there is something like Amelia Paris.
yeah,
So yeah, I know I'm fine with putting challengers here. I mean, there's like 20 fucking movies on this short list.
yeah. The rest of them don't
I don't really
really
care.
matter at all.
Maybe fucking Blink Twice will get an Oscar nomination. I don't know, but
Maybe fucking
I
Sing Sing will pair a Best Picture with a score nom. Who
sure,
knows?
yeah. Horizon American Song. God, they really
Yeah,
did shortlist that. But anyways, yeah, I think we're looking at that.
for sure.
Also, the rest of this is not ranked. It is just dead as in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
Um,
Although to be fair, it's not far off ranking. Sing Sing would be a little higher.
song. El Mal is the presumptive front runner, I guess, right
Yeah,
now, just because it won the Globe. But we'll see how the rest of the season goes. There's one. The Better Man song was disqualified, So that's why there's only 14 here.
I wouldn't have put it in anyway. Actually,
Yeah.
I would have this top 5 because I mean
You
the
can be like,
journey we can put in Diane Warren, like that is
right,
basically
this is
number 3
3
because
because it's
it's
Diane
gonna
Warren.
happen.
And yeah, I think the rest of this makes sense. I'm going to put the Challenger song 5, but I think it makes
Yeah,
sense for it to get a double music nom because what else? Like, what are we going? Are we really going to do Elton John? Are we going to do Twisters and Song? Are we going to go for Will and Harper? Probably not. Winter, like,
because I don't think they're going to even do Will and Harper for documentary. So let alone
right. And
song.
Challengers did get industry support here. It got the SEL, so
Yeah,
it did have a bit of industry support. I'm not 100% convinced just because of the
no.
nature of the song, and it is not a
But
very conventional song nomination. But I think that
I
there's enough
mean,
there for it to happen.
the other option is Like a Bird is not out. It's a memorable credit song. So I would put that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
significantly. I put that at number 6. But it's not
Peace
really.
with
It
Pharrell
is
was
still a
probably
credit
like up
song.
here.
Yeah. Weirdly, Kneecap, the one thing people are talking about that film endlessly, but the one thing they're not talking about is the music from it, which is slightly strange, but
Yeah,
not heard much about that specific song. So
yeah, yeah. I don't remember it to be honest. Um, so yeah,
yeah, I feel fine with that as a 5. I think again, Challenges has the potential to pick up a few noms, and if it's on a good day, I think it can pick up stuff like screenplay and editing. Therefore, so it's
yeah.
just
Agreed. Not on editing, but the other ones.
yeah, animated
Well,
feature, maybe the easiest 5
it's cut
possibly.
off, but do we really even need to look at
No,
anything
I
else?
mean Moana
We'll slide
2
it
got the
down still.
PGA, but of course they missed out
Wh-
Memoir of a Snail from
And
PGA.
what's fascinating about Moana is it didn't get the Annie, which is really, really telling.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that did not get. Look at everything else that got the Annie. Look at everything that
yeah.
got the Annie,
Kung
and
Fu
look what
Panda
Moana's
4 got
missing.
the Annie. So
Right.
yeah, easy top
That
5.
did not get the Annie. If it got the Annie, then maybe it's a slight conversation. But the fact that it missed the Annie, of course they were always going to miss out Memoir of a Snail at PG.
Hmm.
Everything else is locked. And yeah, I think Flo's winning the Oscar. Fuck it.
Yeah, The Wild Robot has a weird group of people that really love the film, and I'm not sure why that's come about or whatever. But there is a lot of people that will really ride or die for that film. Like say it deserves Best Picture, and whether you agree or disagree with that is up to you. But most people have like there's not much conversation around about it aside from those
No.
people that really love it. So that was the only reason it became a right. Sure,
Right.
that's going to win animated feature then. But now that Flo's won the Globe, I don't see
It
why
just
it
feels like
wouldn't
all the
just
talk is
win.
on Flo.
Exactly, I don't see why that wouldn't translate anywhere else, and why Wild Robot would still win Critics' Choice or anything like that. It may still win PGA because PGA are more
But
populist, are
yeah,
significantly more
I
populist.
think Flo
But
wins
PGA
Critics'
may
Choice though.
also give it Inside Out too. So exactly, I think Flo will win Critics' Choice, and I think Flo will win BAFTA, and Flo will probably win the Annie as well. So I
Right.
think this is just Flo's Oscar to lose at this point,
Yeah.
really. Which
Yeah. Love it.
quite strange how we got there, and don't love it, but and that's who we are.
Um, international feature. Okay, so Amelia Perez obviously winning this one, right?
Yeah.
Very obviously sweeping, whatever. It's probably going to win Best Picture too. Fuck that movie. I'm Still Here is the obvious number 2, right? We're talking about that as a potential Best Picture sneak. It's in. Seed of the Sacred Fig. It's gotten everything. That's in. Okay.
That's see the sacred fig could randomly miss
It
if
could. That could
something
be a decision to
international
leave.
often exactly
That could be a
internationals
decision to
often have
leave.
some, and it would be seed of the sacred fig this year. So
It would.
it's always better to just predict it happening because
Right.
it's happened everywhere
If
else
there
this year.
is a
Whereas
rain to miss,
but if
it's Seed.
it's not
Yeah.
in the lineup, like there's a chance it slips out. Whereas I'm Still Here because of the elsewhere noms, Emilia Perez, they're not missing.
Yeah.
I would put Flo in
Yeah. Oh, I
because
think if
it
it's
is
winning
now winning
animated,
animated. Yeah.
yeah, I agree. And then it's a question of these other ones.
I would like to put Vermiglio in. Just something about it winning at Venice has just still stayed.
I was gonna say a random shout for How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies.
I guess they're just as random shouts.
I think there's a
I
lot of love
personally
for
think
it.
it is easier to go for the one of the ones who has a Golden Globe. I don't think it'll be Kneecap, just because I don't think it's really to the Oscars' taste.
Yeah.
I think it will either be Girl with the Needle or Vermiglio. If Girl with the Needle gets in, obviously I think that one is
Yeah.
the one that gets in, but I don't think it will. And I just think there is something about Vermiglio that will become a hand of God kind of thing and just proves
Potentially,
its
but that
way
did have
in
a
there.
lot bigger name behind it.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. But I just guess I think it'll be something other than Kneecap, and in which case it's easy to
Yeah.
go with one of the ones that has a
We can go
connotation.
Vermilio. I think in my personal predictions, I'm going How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. I just think that has a
Sure,
lot of passion,
there is definitely
and
as you know for it.
it like with these international features, I think going for a last spot with films that are as small as these, I just tend to go for the one that has a lot of passion. And we've seen surprises here before, like something like EO, right? Like it's,
Yeah,
you know, like
sure.
Lunana Yak in the classroom. There's always those
Yeah,
surprises.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would probably, yeah, I'd go Grandma Dies, but yeah, I'm fine to go for Emilio in here. Last one,
Yeah.
documentary.
So I don't
The Stone.
think looking
I
at the
think
top contenders, I'm
No
not
Other
sure
Land.
Dahomey is happening. I think No Other Land, Sugarcane
So
Daughters.
Dahomey, I love Dahomey. Dahomey is my second favorite doc of the year, just behind No Other Land. It should be happening. It should absolutely be nominated. It should be winning contention. It's too weird, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression.
Ibelin, I don't think
I
is
also
Oscar taste.
don't think Will and Harper will happen just because I don't like doing celebrity. And I know it's a different thing. It's not really a
Right.
celebrity doc, but
But it's
it
still that
feels
sort
like that.
of, yeah.
Yeah.
I like this top five.
Soundtrack. Yeah. I
It
mean,
sounded like
I
the two
don't
to
know
top feels like that sort of criticky, like, you know, more artsy doc that could slide in.
exactly. I don't know much about Porcelain War, so
It's the Ukraine one.
potentially okay, that's the Ukraine one. Okay. Potentially that one can still sneak in. I think it's easier in this category to just look at it and go, what's not happening, and then just choose whichever ones are the most popular from there. I guess so. It makes sense to go with that as a top
For me, it's
five. Will
these
Porcelain
five.
War happen? Maybe. Yeah. But
Yeah, no. I think Will and Harper getting BAFTA is kind of important. Porcelain War has some industry support. I mean, there's all the other, like, maybe they go for the fucking Netanyahu one. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
But I think that this five makes sense to go for a five.
for sure. For sure.
Um, so those are our final Oscar nomination predictions. There are the short films as well, where we never really predict those because if we're being completely honest, we are just not educated enough and we do not have the time
No.
to watch through all the shortlisted short films. We'll watch through all the nominees and we'll give our thoughts on those when we do winner predictions. But yes, we are just not don't have the time or expertise to to say anything meaningful on short films besides just random guesses. So that's that. But this is it, guys. This is it. This is the last
Final
predictions before
predictions. I can't
nominations.
believe we've already got here, and I can't believe this is where the state of the race is right now, where we're looking at Amelia Perez as winning Best Picture, and Nickel Boys is maybe not even getting nominated.
They're nominated. Yep. Fucking wild.
Yeah, it's an
Uh,
interesting award season, this one, isn't it? You know,
mm-hmm.
can't say I'm pleased with much of how things are turning
Yep.
out. Well,
Best movie, but probably like best top, at least top two movie of the year against like a, you know, bottom five movie of the year. Like,
yeah, and then Conclave just sort of chilling there as a
yeah, just
random
the most
third
mid
entry.
thing
Yeah,
ever. Just yeah. And
yeah,
then you have Anora, which is another like top five movie of the year. Like
yeah.
with between Anora, Conclave, and Amelia Perez, we genuinely have a top five, middle five, and bottom five movie of the year contending for Best Picture.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd have to do the maths on that because I don't actually.
Sure. But the vibes of a
You know,
top
for
five,
Media
middle five,
Paris is
bottom five.
actually, yeah, exactly. Kind of. Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, that's it. That is it. We will see you guys on Oscar nomination morning. We will have some reviews, and we've been talking about doing reviews for a while. They're coming, I promise. But yes, so we will talk to you guys later. Until next time, thank you everybody for watching. Stay safe and